As an engineer, I was always fascinated with the ingenuity that was put into sawmilling the forests of Mount Macedon in the mid-19th century. I pictured hardy frontier men felling the first trees out there in the bush and living pretty rough on the frontier of European occupation. But as I began to research this period in history, my feelings got more complicated. This was Wurundjeri, Taungurung and Gisborne Wurrung country, people who managed and looked after the widespread plains and its great forests for many thousands of years. All this changed dramatically with the arrival of the first Europeans. It is a fact that Mount Macedon is still Wurundjeri, Taungurung and Gisborne Wurrung country, and that the Aboriginal name for Mount Macedon is Geburrh. Mountain ash trees are the tallest flowering plant in the world and second tallest tree in the world. They can reach 110 metres in height. They grow from seeds the size of a pin and are activated by fire and can live up to 400 years. Once Mount Macedon was home to these incredible forest giants. But today few remain. Here is what I've found out. In 1835, a determined European explorer and surveyor, Major Mitchell, made his way on horseback up the mountain's north side while the rest of his party waited where Castlemaine is today. He reported in his diary,
"The trees on the side of the mountain were of much grander character than those in the surrounding forests. They consisted principally of blackbutt and blue gum eucalypti. I could ascend the mountain without alighting from my horse and found the summit to be very spacious. Tree ferns covered the southern part of the summit, and elsewhere musk plants grew in abundance. The mountain top was full of wombat holes and covered with dead trunks of enormous trees in all stages of decay."
The Major had observed a giant forest growing on the side of an ancient volcano. He would go on to name this place Mount Macedon. Within 2 years of his discovery, men awed by tales of the towering timber arrived. They beheld a massive opportunity. The trees would be a resource for the building of Melbourne, a city on its way to becoming the richest in the world due to the gold rush. And so, the destruction of these forests began. The early foresters felled the trees by hand with axes. Pits big enough for a standing man were dug, one man down the bottom, one above with a long saw. One by one, the giant trees fell, sawn into large logs and sent slithering down slipways on the mountain slopes. Bullock teams were waiting to drag the logs to the mills scattered across the range. The slow and steady work of these frontier men dramatically increased with the coming of the railway. Brute strength was now aided by machines. Steam-driven engines and winches worked in concert with tramways which crisscrossed the mountain. Logs were harvested en masse at local sawmills and loaded on trains at Macedon Station for Melbourne. 35 years on from the first swing of the axe, the remaining resilience of the forest giants collapsed. The forests had been razed from the mountain. It took a while for the extent of the destruction to be realised. A newspaper of the day reported, "On the Macedon ranges, where the noblest of gums and stringy barks grew, the lands have mostly been cleared or the trees ring-barked. The value of the timber destroyed cannot be estimated. It is regretful that the land so little suited for agriculture and so eminently suited by nature for growing timber should have been so abused. Passing into the forest, the traveller is struck not by the number of trees, but the number of stumps and the quantity of timber lying rotting on the ground." At the close of an era, all the sawmills disappeared, almost now without trace. A few forest giants withstood the onslaught, remaining as a towering curiosity. Today these living artefacts are testament to the past majesty of the forest. It makes me wonder what Mount Macedon would be like today if the great forest giants still stood.